from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari. We start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Debate on the Batalanda Commission report commences on the 10th of April. The GCE Ordinary Level examination commences tomorrow in 3,663 centres. Acceptance of nominations for the local government election takes place from tomorrow until the 20th. Construction of houses for those affected by the Poonagala earth slip begins. US airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. 6 sixes and a century from Thisara Pereira at the Asian Legends Cricket Tournament.
Thisara Pereira brings up his 100.
And we begin with your local news. It has been decided to conduct the Parliament debate on the Batalanda Investigation Commission report for 2 days from the 10th of April.
This decision has been taken yesterday by the Working Committee on Parliamentary Affairs. The Working Committee on Parliamentary Affairs met yesterday at the Parliament complex under the leadership of Speaker Dr. Jagat Vikramaratne. It was decided to conduct the debate on Batalanda Investigation Commission report on 10th of April. It is expected to have another day in May as a second day of the debate. Leader of the House, Minister Bima Ratnayake, presented in the Parliament on the 14th of this month the report of the Commission regarding the establishment of illegal detention centres and torture chambers in the Batalanda housing complex. Parliamentary Working Committee has also decided to convene the Parliament on 8th and 9th before the 10th of April. The second reading of the Proceeds of Crime Bill will be conducted on the 8th of April, while the debate on the second reading of the Value-Added Tax Revision Bill on the 9th of April. The Parliamentary Working Committee, which met yesterday, has decided to conduct the debate on the second reading of the Indian Revenue Revision Bill from 6 to 8 p.m. on 20th of March after the Budget Working Committee debate. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has rejected the findings of the Batalanda Commission report, claiming it was politically motivated. Making a special statement, Wickremesinghe said that the commission was established with the sole purpose of discrediting him but failed to achieve its objective. He says the report only mentioned his involvement in facilitating housing for police officers during the 1988 to 1990 insurgency but did not implicate him in any other allegations. Wickremesinghe says that he was only summoned as a witness. He added that according to the Commission's findings, he was implicated only in the matter of providing housing for police officers, which as per regulations should have been done through the Inspector General of Police. He added that the report indicates that both Nalin Delguda and I were indirectly responsible for this process. He also said that apart from this, he was not implicated in any other allegations in the Commission's report. The former president further noted that the report was made available in Parliament in 2000, yet no party, including the JVP, requested a debate on it. Minister Dr. Nalin Delguda has said that if justice is to be provided to those who raise their voices against justice and fairly, the debate on Batalanda Commission report has to be carried out. Minister Dr. Nalin Delguda says, claiming that former President Ranil Wickremesinghe is now too late to talk about the Batalanda Commission report. Minister Nalin Delguda also said today that the government will take legal action based on this report. He told reporters that the government tabled the report in Parliament as promised and has scheduled to hold a two-day debate on the 10th of April and in May. Quote, "The government has decided to appoint a committee regarding this matter. We will refer the report to the Attorney General's Department as well," unquote. The minister said former President Wickremesinghe is the one who knows A to Z about the Batalanda incident and that he never talked about it until Al Jazeera brought it up during a recent interview. Quote, "It is not today. Ranil could have talked about it for the past 35 years. He said nothing until Al Jazeera brought it up. Ranil is too late now," unquote, Minister Jatisa said.
The GCE O-level examination will be conducted at 3,663 centres across Sri Lanka with a total of 474,147 candidates. The examination is scheduled to commence tomorrow and will continue until March 26th. Commissioner General of Examinations Amit Jayasundara told the media today that all examination centres are being kept in readiness for the examinations. It is fully prohibited for exam candidates to bring into centres mobile phones, smartwatches or any other electronic devices other than the equipment needed for the exam. The relevant admission card and the national identity card are also permitted. The Commissioner General of Examinations also notifies the candidates to be present at the examination centre in time to sit for the examinations according to the timetable. Commissioner General of Examinations Amit Jayasundara said that candidates must not bring mobile phones or smartphones or such devices to the exam premises. He further points out that if caught in the exam hall, the relevant candidate is liable for punishment and that he would be banned from sitting for any exam for 5 years. The candidate should also avoid any plans to cheat at the examination and they should not be manipulated by certain individuals. The Commissioner General further said they are giving 10 minutes for each candidate to read the question paper. This practice has been conducted for several years. He urges the student to get the maximum use of this time. The candidates must also note that candidature is legal only if the admission card is attested through signature of the principal of the relevant school. For the private candidates, the signature should be certified by a suitable person. Special examination centres are being conducted in Tangol, Ratmalana and Shillong for students with special needs. The magazine prison will also conduct a special exam centre for inmates facing the exam.
Acceptance of nominations for the local government election 2025 is scheduled to commence at the returning officers at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. The nominations acceptance procedure will take place till 12 noon on the 20th of March. Acceptance of deposits will take place until 12 noon on the 19th of March. The period of the election is being considered as from the 3rd of March up until the announcing of results. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sri Ratnayaka informs that during this period, all parties concerned should refrain from abusing state properties as a means to discredit political parties, groups or candidates. The procedures pertaining to recruitment of government officials and workers or engaging in promoting or transferring such officials in the districts where the election is being conducted should be restricted. The Commissioner General reiterates that ministry secretaries and department heads as well as other relevant officials should focus attention in this regard. Acceptance of applications on postal voting will end at midnight tomorrow. The Election Commission informs that eligible applicants who have not yet applied to hand over their applications to the district election officers without handing them over to the post. The PAFREL organisation says more independent groups are contesting the upcoming election and a request has been made to hand over the nominations in a manner to not face any rejection. Obtaining the signatures for nominations from the candidates of the National People's Power at the forthcoming local government election held in Polonnaru with the participation of Deputy Minister T.B. Sarath. Deputy Minister T.B. Sarath said that certain political parties have still not been able to process their nominations. He predicts that his party would definitely secure the biggest victory achieved by one political movement in the history of Pradesh Sabha elections. Obtaining of signatures for nominations of candidates contesting the Pradesh Sabha from Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna took place at the Aganukoda Parasa residence of former Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amravira. Former Minister Amravira said that the chair symbol had emerged victorious in every election it contested so far and that they shall compete this time as well under the same symbol of the chair.
The court ruling on the writ petition filed by Deshabandhu Tennakon interdicted in the post of IGP against the order of the Mathura Magistrate Court will be publicised tomorrow. Now, the appeal court had completed the consideration of this petition recently. The writ petition has been filed in the appeals court requesting them not to be taken into custody by officer in charge of the Colombo Crimes Division and 6 others. The Attorney General and the attorneys of the petitioners had reached a consensus at the Court of Appeal until parliamentary investigations are completed. Accordingly, the Attorney General has instructed the Criminal Investigation Department to record their statements after they appear before the CID. The writ petition is due to be taken up in the appeals court on the 21st of this month. The chief of the Colombo Crimes Division and the suspects have not been taken into custody, but the CID is conducting investigations in order to taking into custody the interdicted IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon. According to the police, the Matra Magistrate Court ordered on the 27th of last month to taking into custody Deshabandhu Tennakon and Chief of the Colombo Crimes Division Anselm De Silva and 6 others regarding a case of a shootout in the Valigam area.
Construction of houses for 51 families who had been in relief camps for nearly 2 years after the landslide in Kamaragala in Poonagala commenced yesterday. An amount of 160 million rupees will be spent on this project. The houses of these people were completely destroyed during the landslide in 2023. They have been residing so far in a tea factory which has been closed down. The laying of the foundation stone for this housing complex was done yesterday by Minister Samantha Vidyaratna. Deputy Minister Sundaralingam Pradeep and the Governor of Uva Province Kapil Jayasekara also joined this occasion. A complete house with a land area of 10 perches will be provided free of cost, and the value of a house is 2.8 million rupees. The construction is being carried out by the Sri Lanka Army. Minister Samantha Vidyaratna said that spending one's time in relief camps is unimaginable during a lifespan of 60 to 70 years. The government hopes to settle them in proper houses shortly. Landslide occurred at several places including Samasarakanda area, and 22 families are still in relief camps without houses. People's tax money is being spent for the Kamaragala housing project, and a total amount of 160 million rupees will be spent on this. The government will build 50 houses, and this will not be a loan, but the resident will get a free of charge cost grant of house worth 2.8 million rupees. More local stories right after this break.
Kottumi, Fantamai.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back, and in more local stories, Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa says the government will give the highest value for taxpayers' money which is being sent to the Treasury.
He has made these remarks participating in a ceremony held in connection with the commemoration of the World Kidney Day. The event was organized by the All Ceylon Kidney Patients Association. A special appreciation has been made at this occasion on Vidya Jyoti Professor Rizvi Sharif, who had done an exceptional service on behalf of the kidney patients through research and other means, donating of dried food to kidney patients, presentation of vouchers for dialysis treatment, and provision of scholarships to children of kidney patients, as well as handing over of transport allowances and other hospitality services to patients has also taken place on this occasion. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that special attention has been paid by the budget of 2025 for kidney diseases, and an amount of 290 million rupees have been allocated to control it. The expectation of everyone is to provide a satisfactory life for every citizen. The government expects to provide a high value to every rupee added to the exchequer. He added that it is requested to suspend these funds purposefully and also to spend it well and efficiently. The need of the hour is to provide services according to the requirements of the general public.
Minister Saroja Savitri Paulraj says that the possibility to increase women's representation in Parliament to 2022 has been a unique victory by the women of this country. She made this observation addressing Women's Conference held in Mathura. This ceremony has been organised parallel to the International Women's Day under the auspices of the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs. Several female parliamentarians representing National People's Power expressed their views about the challenges faced by women at present. Minister Saroja Savitri Paulraj says that the women of this country were together in forming the new government after toppling a corrupt regime. They said that the example and future activities will be conducted under the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs. The experience and ideas of each and every woman is required by the ministry in order to take this country forward. The ministry represents 52% of the population of the country and not a ministry of a single entity. She added that the agreement should come together to defeat exploitation. The previous women's representation in Parliament has been increased to 22 by the present government, and the country has a woman Prime Minister as well. The change brought about by the present government is immense, and a lot of work has to be done in future for the sustainable development of the country. The pride, rights and empowerment of women is crucial in sustainable development, and this has been talked about at length in previous times as well. Parliamentarian Nilanthikota Harachi said that a considerable proportion has been set aside by police statement.
युग परिवर्तनය සමාජ ප්‍රගමනයේ ඊළඟ තැන ලංකාවෙන් සටහන් කරන්න අපි පටන් අරන් තිබෙනවා. මේක ලොකු වැඩක්. ඒතකොට ඒ හන්ද තමයි අපි මෙන්න මේ අපි කියන ගෝලීය සංවර්ධන දර්ශකවල තිරසර සංවර්ධන නිර්ණායකවල කාන්තා අභිමානය, කාන්තා සවිවල ගැනීම කියන එක, කාන්තා අයිතිවාසිකම් කියන එක මේ තරම් කතා කරනවා. රටක් ලස්සන ජීවිතයක්.
Parliamentarian Nilanthikota Harachi said that a considerable proportion has been set aside by the police statement of the present government, which is a matter of satisfaction. The manifesto of the government can be described as a document which provided a great attention and care for women in history of this country. A planned program where women can be given an important role has become a reality now.
Female parliamentarians of the National People's Power says that the sexual assault of a doctor in Anuradhapura Hospital has once again sparked a discussion on the collective failure to combat violent crimes against women. Issuing a communique in this regard, they call upon to protect the privacy of women who are being subjected to violence. The parliamentarians, while expressing their solidarity and empathy with the survivor of this particular incident, also stressed that regardless of the social category of the identity of the victim, their mission should be to dismantle the culture of violence against women. They add that every day they hear of one crime or the other against women, ranging from murder to sexual assault to sexual harassment at a workplace or in cyberspace. Hate speech against women is normalized, indicating a deeper problem of a culture of misogyny which builds towards a culture of physical and sexual violence. It is important to understand that often normalized acts of online abuse and verbal harassment are part and parcel of a culture that considers women to be subhuman. The women parliamentarians further point out that at the earlier stage of the reporting of the sexual harassment at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, they heard of extremely sensitive response from all segments in the society, but by now it has been turned into a customary anti-women dialogue. Therefore, as women who have continuously advocated for reforms to support survivors of violence and harassment, they consider it their duty to contribute to the public debate as they strive in their capacities to reform the systems tackling violence and harassment against women. They also state that they are especially deeply concerned about the publication of the victim's statement in the media and the lack of sensitivity in the system towards violent crimes against women, which leads to such lapses. The law enforcement authorities and the media must act with sensitivity towards survivors of violence and harassment. In a large number of cases, women are discouraged to report incidents of violence and harassments to authorities precisely because of the stigma attached to their names from thereon. Every survivor has a right to privacy. The judiciary, police and the media must prioritize the privacy and well-being of survivors if they are to encourage reporting of crimes to authorities. Often such violations of privacy lead to victim blaming on a larger scale, as they see in this case too. Social media chatter about the supposed credibility of actions of the woman following the crime creates a culture of shame and self-doubt which prevents women from reporting sexual assaults to the authority. Therefore, the female NPP parliamentarians request everyone to protect the privacy of the woman involved and refrain from gossiping and sharing misguided theories about such violent crimes.
Inaugural conference of the Janabale movement has commenced today at the Mahavali Centre. The aim is to create a new people's campaign based on critical cooperation and active citizen participation. Lecturer Dr. Nirmal Ranjit Devasiri said that they need a system to integrate the Malimava government with the general public for a close political relationship. This will result in the government's longevity and favour of the people in terms of education, development and healthcare policies.
A former senior official of the Department of Inland Revenue, Kusum Silva, has passed away at the age of 76 years. Late Mrs. Silva had served the Inland Revenue Department for a period of nearly 40 years. She was the mother of the chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Gihandi Silva. The remains lie at a private funeral parlour in Borella, and the funeral will take place at the General Cemetery Borella tomorrow at 4 p.m.
And here's a few more local news items now in brief. A person who conducted a drug racket in this country along with another person under the instructions from Badawita Sanka, a drug racketeer and an underworld gangster who is in hiding in a foreign country, has been taken into custody. According to our correspondent, a cache of heroin of the value of 3 million rupees, an air rifle, 2 mobile phones and 2 three-wheelers have also been taken into police custody along with these 2 individuals. Our correspondent also says that a successful harvest has been received from Padaviya, Parakramapura, Kabethigollava and Valioya areas during the current Maha season. A land area of about 35,000 acres were under paddy cultivation in these areas, and harvesting has been completed. A program to clean the area around official quarters of doctors and the nursing staff commenced recently with the contribution of the Community Police Division of Kabethigollava Police Station under Clean Sri Lanka program. Foreign news on the other side of this break. Taking a look at your foreign news tonight, the US has launched a decisive and powerful wave of airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, President Donald Trump has said, citing the group's attacks on shipping in the Red Sea as the reason. The Houthi-run health ministry said at least 31 people were killed and 101 others were injured in the strikes. The group later said it would continue to target Red Sea shipping until Israel lifted its blockade of Gaza and that its forces would respond to the strikes. The Houthis reported a series of explosions on Saturday evening in the Yemeni capital of Sana'a in the northern province of Sada, the rebel stronghold on the border with Saudi Arabia. The Iranian-backed rebel group, which considers Israel as its enemy, controls Sana'a and the northwest of Yemen, but it is not the country's internationally recognized government. In a statement, the Houthis blamed the US and the UK for wicked aggression targeting residential areas in Sana'a. The UK did not participate in Saturday's US strikes against the Houthi targets, but it did provide routine refueling support for the US.
In more international news, at least 59 people have been killed and more than 155 injured in a nightclub fire in North Macedonia. The blaze broke out around 2:30 a.m. at the Pulse Club in Kokani, a town around 100 kilometers east of the capital Skopje, where 1,500 people were attending a concert by DNK, a popular hip-hop duo in the country. The North Macedonia Prime Minister called it a difficult and very sad day for the country, which had lost many young lives. Arrest warrants have been issued for 4 people, Interior Minister Pan Staskovsky said at the scene without giving any details. He announced the arrest of a man earlier, and the state news agency MIA said the club owner was detained. Toskovsky has also said that according to initial reports, the fire has been started by sparks from pyrotechnic devices that had hit the ceiling, which was made highly flammable material. Footage shows the band playing on the stage when two flares go off. Sparks then catch fire on the ceiling before rapidly spreading. Video verified by the BBC shows people trying to extinguish the flames on the ceiling. It shows the club was still full and people appeared to be watching efforts to put out the fire rather than leaving. The Interior Minister had earlier announced the death toll at 51, with some 100 injured. In his update, he said 35 of the deceased has already been identified. Kokani's hospital director said earlier that staff had been struggling to identify patients due to a lack of ID cards. However, she went on to say that those deceased were between the age of 14 and 24. 18 patients are said to be in critical condition.
And in your sports news tonight, Sri Lanka Lions team qualified for the second semi-finals of Asian Legends League T20 cricket tournament.
They defeated Afghanistan Pathan's team. The match was played today. The match was played in Udaipur, India. Batting first, Sri Lanka Lions scored 230 runs for 3 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. Tissara Pereira, in an excellent display of batting, scored an unbeaten one. Asghar Afghan scored 71 runs. In bowling, Vikum Sanjay claimed 3 wickets. Sri Lanka Lions won the match by 26 runs.
Another one. Batting. Look at that. There it goes. Absolutely.
Well, that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira together with Kasuni Balachandra Adhikari. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great week ahead.
Good night.